and welcome to an all-new Eye of the Tiger. I'm Landon Reynolds.
And I'm Riley Metton.
Vape rates are significantly up since past years. We go to Danielle Bennett with more.
Thanks, Riley. This year, RHS has had 29 incidents of students caught vaping on campus. This is in comparison to 2 years ago, where only 6 incidents occurred. To address this, the school is taking on an educational campaign that Principal David Bird hopes will reduce the number of students who turn to vaping. As part of this campaign, Site Wellness Centers worked to organize an informational presentation put on by Placer County Prevention Program Coordinator Alexandra Ride, who they plan to bring back to talk to freshman health classes.
So in our e-juice, we have some giant question marks you'll see at the bottom here, and that's because no part of anything of a vaping device or the e-juice itself is regulated by the FDA.
Your brain's still developing, and so you don't want that addiction to happen, because once you start younger, you're addicted for life.
We want to come at it from a prevention lens as much as possible, but also be a resource for students who maybe haven't gotten caught or in trouble for it, but really just want the help and want to find better coping strategies.
According to Assistant Principal Matt Pipitone, the district is looking into purchasing sensor systems for school bathrooms to alert administrators when students are vaping. In addition, administration is employing a new model that refers students to a diversion class and the Wellness Center for intervention programs following first and second offenses.
If it goes beyond that, just lay out some of those kind of interventions.
That's challenging and frustrating at times for some people, because they just want everyone who does something wrong to just be completely removed from the system and eradicated from it. I would much rather make punishment not our first step, but make education our first step. Punishment might have to come as our second step, but I think that we're doing the right thing by at least trying the educational model first.
Pipitone asks students to think twice before vaping in class.
But the conversation I typically have with students is, would you drink that juice straight? No, that's disgusting. But turning it into a vapor and sucking it into your lungs is better. I never thought about it that way. Think about it. Think about what you're actually doing.
With all the action administration has made, they are hoping to see vape rates decrease in coming years.
Last night was the annual talent show. Junior Ethan Jones won with his original composition on the piano. Aubrey Hernandez placed second for archery, and Maddie Newley placed third in singing.
We can now go to Kobe Estrada for sports.
Morning and welcome to this Friday's edition of EOTSN. I'm Kobe Estrada. With winter sports over and spring sports beginning, one RHS sophomore is taking a unique route off campus and sticking to his childhood passions. We go to Cam Madrano with more.
While most student athletes find themselves participating in activities around campus, sophomore Philip Moffett has found his own passion in a more unconventional setting. The ice.
I just play my game. I'm a fast skater, so I use my speed to get around players, stick handle well, and that's how I get most of my goals. My favorite thing about hockey is playing with my teammates, having fun, scoring goals, winning games, and playing my hardest.
Although it is common for families to pass down traditions and customs through each generation, for the Moffetts, a love for hockey is their most entrusted value. As for Philip, he is a third-generation hockey player and a first-generation American.
That was a really good immersion for him to keep playing hockey from Canada to California. And he's still playing the high level of hockey in California, so that's really good for him. So that didn't change. So he kept his roots, his Canadian roots, so it was good for him having hockey in California.
Especially that I lived in Canada for a while. Everyone there plays hockey, and there's obviously more people that play in Canada, but I think the level is as good here than in Canada.
After moving to California from Quebec when he was 9 years old, Philip continued to foster his passion for the sport. Philip took on skating at 2 years old and began hockey just 2 years later.
When we were back in Canada, when he started skating and playing hockey, ice rink in our backyard, this is how he started playing in Canada and how he learned skating and handling the puck. So yeah, so we spent a lot of time outside at 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, and that was really fun to watch, and even at night with the lights out, and that was really a nice moment for him.
In other sports news, girls softball starts their season off tonight at home against the Davis Blue Devils at 3:30. Last Tuesday, baseball had their first scrimmage against Lincoln and plays Oakmont on Wednesday. And that's all on your home for Roseville High School sports, top plays, breakdowns, and more. I, the Tiger Sports Network, EOTSN. And now we go over to entertainment.
Thanks, Kobe. Last night, infamous rapper Lil Pump dropped his latest album, Harvard Dropout, and it is definitely a Lil Pump album. And by that, I mean it is absolutely unremarkable. The first couple of songs kind of slapped, and then the reality that it's Lil Pump slaps you. The first song, Dropout, is really good because after that, it sounds like you're listening to the same song over and over again. All the songs sound extremely similar to the point where I would not be able to tell when a new one starts. Other rappers that appear on this album, like Lil Wayne, Kanye West, Offset, Quavo, Lil Uzi, and 2 Chainz are on there, but even with them on it, it still is not enough to make this album good. Even with my hatred of Lil Pump, I was hopeful that this album would be good, or at least palatable, but it is the opposite. Despite what Lil Pump says, this album will not place him in the pantheon of rap gods or even in the canon of incredible rap albums. Final thoughts though, this album wasn't absolutely horrible. The beats were repetitive, the features were nice but slightly unremarkable. In fact, this whole album was unremarkable, so I give it about a 4 out of 10. But hey, at least it's not Ariana Grande. And now we go back to news.
Thanks, Jackson. Dance teacher Dawn Kenniston tapped her way into children's hearts with her book released last year. We go to Megan Huber with more.
Roseville High dance teacher Dawn Kenniston, who is accustomed to taking leaps on the dance floor, has been able to take a leap into becoming a published author with her children's book, That Rat Can Tap. The book features a boy named Parker, named after Kenniston's own son, who has a dream about rats in the attic. One rat named Fred teaches him how to tap dance in the dream, and when Parker wakes up, he puts on a performance for his father in order to keep the rats safe from the possibility of getting caught in a trap.
Actually, it was never on my bucket list of things to do. It just came to me one day. I was feeding my kid. He fell asleep in my lap. Honestly, there were rats up in my attic. My husband was sitting next to me watching football, and I just pulled out my phone, and this book came to me in rhyme.
Kenniston decided to self-publish her own book, giving her full control of writing, illustration, editing, and ultimately profit. In order to self-publish a book, you submit material to a company who will help print out the book and even make it available to online retailers like Amazon and Barnes & Noble. One of the hardest steps when it comes to publishing is taking the leap to decide to go through with it.
I wrote it about 6 years ago, actually, and then just kind of sat on it for a while, and then found an illustrator who worked with me at a previous school. Her name is Lori Paskey. She had illustrated a different children's book and told me about it. So I knew of her interest, and I knew of her work, and I knew she was willing to work for hey, we'll split the profits, I can't pay you up front. So that was important too.
Kenniston was also able to keep editing close to her by having her friends and their kids help edit. The reward? Being named after one of the characters in the story. Dance student Sydney Oppenheim feels that working with kids helped to add to the success of the story.
She works with kids, so she knows what they like and how to entertain them, so I think whatever she writes, it'll be well taken.
I'm on dance team, so she showed us the book and we did some stuff with it for a fundraiser. I thought it was pretty cute. It's pretty creative. I think it's a really fun story that little kids are gonna enjoy.
The book has seen a lot of success, having a 5-star rating on top of spending a week as the #1 Amazon's children's dance new releases. Kenniston is not planning to write another story, but she finds herself being inspired by her son to write once more. Back to you.
Thanks, Megan. If you're interested in reading this cute story, you can visit Barnes & Noble or order the book online. And that's it for us today on Eye of the Tiger.
And remember, we're always on at eyethetigernews.com. See you next time.